Here at Neyland Stadium, wrapping up Tennessee's 56-0 win over Tennessee Tech. I'm Vince Ferrara alongside Eric Cain from the starting lineup on the Sports Animal and many other outlets on the station and others around the area. So Tennessee gets, obviously, Eric, a win they had to have.
Yeah.
Biggest thing is they were dominant, and the game allowed them to be able to get some extra players in the game. Let's start there, that opportunity to play all the players on this team.
Yeah, I thought it was very important. The offensive line continues to be kind of shuffling the deck, and I don't think they're done there. I envision a couple more moves maybe on that offensive line, but allowing guys like Jeremiah Crawford to get in the ball game, Ollie Lane additional staff, Kingston Harris, who unfortunately went down in this game, he's been continuing to get some reps, and some other, Dane Davis as well, right. Those type of guys. Defensive backs, Tamari McDonald, who had an interception, Christian Charles, Pat Garland at linebacker. Yeah. And so allowing Tennessee to see what they have in some other players, potentially having to rely on some of those players later down into the season, I think that was huge. And in a game like this against Tennessee Tech, it's the perfect time for it, and Tennessee was able to accomplish that.
Yeah, that was a missed opportunity in the Bowling Green game. I think some of their starters, without the depth they don't have, to stockpile all those snaps with those starters, so it was important to get other guys those snaps, and Josh Heupel mentioned that during the post game as well. All right, let's go to the quarterbacks. That's what everybody wants to talk about. We'll start with Hendon Hooker, who got the start. What do you think of the way he played today?
I thought he was fine. I thought he obviously gave Tennessee a great chance to win this football game. I thought he threw the ball, missed on some deeper throws, and that continues to be an issue for Tennessee, the wide receivers, and just really the offense overall. Not just the quarterback, also the wide receivers, but his ability to run the football is something that intrigues me. He was sharp for the most part throwing the football. He threw for 3 touchdowns. It did have that costly fumble, but in that play it was incredible, Vince. He was bottled up in the backfield, got out of it, ran over to the sideline. Unfortunately, took a pretty big hit that to where he let go of the football. But right now it is what it is. I think it's hard to argue. If someone wanted to say that Hooker might give you the best chance to win right now, it's hard to argue against it. But Joe Milton not playing in this football game, Tennessee's not done with Joe Milton. I still expect Joe Milton to be a factor moving forward as well.
Well, Heupel was asked about that in the post game, and he said we'll see early in the week. The next couple of days will help determine what his availability might be. Do you interpret that as, if he's healthy, that he starts Hendon Hooker, or what do you think for Florida?
Yeah, I don't know, Vince. Again, Hendon Hooker's been taking the majority of the first-team reps, this whole week, and then today, obviously, in the game. So we'll have to see. I think that it's more or less, let's see what he has in practice. If he can go, then, whichever one they feel gives them the best chance to win. Say it's Hendon Hooker, I still think Joe Milton plays. I don't like 2 quarterback systems, but, I thought, especially comments after the Pittsburgh game, and throughout the last week, Josh Heupel's not done with Joe Milton. They still believe that the way they're practicing, the way they're connecting on those deeper balls in practice, that it will come in the game, and they have all the confidence in Joe Milton. So we'll have to see, but again, I go back to Hendon Hooker gave you a chance to win last week, played pretty well today, and so it's not like I think they're just going to bench him, if somebody gets healthy, so it'll be interesting.
Yeah, Hooker tied a career high, 3 touchdown passes in a game, also a rushing touchdown as well, so the 4 touchdowns accounted for, ties for a career high. He did both of those 3 times at Virginia Tech. Tennessee, unfortunately, still, for another game, has their quarterbacks as their leading rusher. Yeah. Doesn't sound like Josh Heupel is really happy with the run game.
And he shouldn't be. Again, so many positives against Bowling Green, not so much against Pittsburgh. You're down to your third option there. I thought Jalen Wright ran the football pretty well today. He got over, I want to say, 4.3 yards per carry, but Tyon Evans, not the best day running the football. Laneith Whitehead came in. It was good to see him run hard, get to see him have some game action, but he didn't play an awful lot. But yeah, that's something to where Tennessee's got to control its offense through the run game. Josh Heupel's mentioned it many times, saying, hey, we have success in our offense in the past, but it starts with the run game. You saw how important it was against Bowling Green. It wasn't there tonight. It will have to be there in the Swamp, Vince.
And the people's choice at quarterback, Harrison Bailey, got in the game. It was obviously well out of hand late third quarter. What'd you make of Bailey's performance?
Yeah, he got in there. You could tell, at least in my eyes, Harrison Bailey wanted to air it out. He wanted to show off that arm. Some overthrows. It must be a theme with this Tennessee quarterback room.
It's not just Milton.
Some overthrows with Harrison Bailey. He kept it on that keeper there, getting into the end zone. No one was touching him. I thought he was fine, but I didn't see enough of him to say anything. Well, he needs to get more opportunities, or he needs to be the number one guy. I think he's the third quarterback on the roster right now. I think he was the third quarterback on last year's roster. It just kind of is what it is at this point.
And Josh Heupel mentioned, too, that it was Hendon Hooker that got all the first-team reps other than a drive or two leading up to this game. So it's not like it was was a coin flip, and they went with Hendon Hooker. Bailey is the third-team quarterback right now. Defense, positives. Obviously, you get the shutout.
Yeah.
You get the 4 interceptions when you hadn't gotten any turnovers defensively, so those are all positives. Anything else about this game leading up to what's really important in Florida next week that stood out to you?
Yeah, of course. You got to grade on a scale, okay? It was what it was. I mean, the quarterback situation for FCS Tennessee Tech was not good, but you took advantage of it, got the turnovers, got a couple of sacks as well. I think a positive, Vince, is Jeremy Banks played the whole game. Yeah. Pretty much. And that's huge because they have been rotating linebackers in and out of the football game. And Jeremy Banks, who I think has taken steps to becoming a better football player, allowing him to call the whole defense. Juwan Mitchell didn't play. So he called the defense. He was in there. He was not out in space. That was Aaron Beasley. I think that for Jeremy Banks, just that experience of playing pretty much 4 quarters today is going to be big for him moving forward. And it all starts with the linebackers on defense because they're involved in the run and the pass.
A lot of guys held out, guys that were probably close to being able to play, held out with Florida coming next week. So this is where it really gets turned up. Velus Jones talking in the postgame that, hey, I'm one of the guys that is going to talk to our guys. So many different players. He's been through it. He was really good. Another standout today, both a receiver and in the return game. What jumps out early and looking forward to Florida?
Yeah, well, you got to get healthy. You got to have Cooper Mays back, who I think will be back. I think Cooper Mays could have probably went in this football game. We'll see about Joe Milton. Some of the other guys that were out. Bumpus is a guy that you'd like to get back into the role. I think Juwan Mitchell, we expect him to be back next week as well. You need those guys. They're big catalysts for your football team. But, I mean, overall, decided to get home and watch the second half of that Alabama-Florida game. 2 athletic quarterbacks that, I have reservations about them throwing the football to win football games, but they can take over any game with their legs, and depth Florida has as well. It's going to be a challenge, but you need to get your guys back first, and you need to do what you did a lot today. Don't turn the football over offensively, create chances defensively, and take advantage of it.
A lot more reaction and plenty of Tennessee-Florida discussion all week long on the Sports Animal. Starting, actually continue in the post game, and then tomorrow morning, Sunday morning, Sunday Sports Sound Off with Jimmy Himes and Tim Irwin, 8 to 10 a.m., and then starting with the starting lineup Monday morning, 6 a.m., going all the way through Sports Talk, ending at 7 p.m. All week long, Tennessee-Florida discussion and recap of this one. Make sure you jump on all our social media accounts, and then on our website, 991thesportsanimal.com, all of our post game content, audio and video, it's all there. Wrapping things up from Neyland Stadium, a 56-0 win for the University of Tennessee. Tennessee moves to 2-1 on the season. For Eric Cain and Chandler Emerson, I'm Vince Ferrara. Thanks for watching here on The Sports Animal. Good night.